This changes everything for New Jersey, has massive implication for the Devils in their upcoming season. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to Devils Digest. I'm your host, Ryan the Gosiker, here with you, as always, bringing the latest, greatest Devils content, as per usual, as the offseason continues to roll on, trying to get some stuff out to you guys and have some fun. So, before we get into the show, I want you to be a subscriber to the channel. We need your help to reach our goal of 1,000 subscribers by opening night. That's our goal. That's what we're aiming for. Help us get there. We're over the 700 mark. We need your help to get to 1,000. Now let's get into the program today. Again, massive implications for New Jersey. Well, these will or could have massive implications for New Jersey. Let's take a look. I want to dive into an article that I was reading about three Devils who could reach new career highs in 2025, 2026. Every year you see maybe one or two typically on a team. Certainly if more than one or two are having a career year, you're probably going pretty far in the playoffs, I would imagine. So I believe last year's Jesper Bratt had a career year. Just another outstanding year for him. So this article was written as the three Devils who could reach new career highs in 2025, 2026. And it's interesting. So we're going to go through them, and then I'm going to run you through, potentially who I think either needs to or should or will. And we'll get into it. Let's have some fun today talking Devils hockey. Well, the first name on the list was Jack Hughes, and this has got to be the biggest one that comes with an asterisk, right? It's can Jack Hughes stay healthy? If Jack Hughes stays healthy, this team is in a much better spot, right? It's just that way. Jack Hughes is a top echelon player in this league, and if he's not healthy, it's going to severely dampen the Devils' ceiling no matter what, right? I know at times we get kind of lulled into sometimes the puck just moves better when he's not out there. At the end of the day, it is one less person and one less very important person that the opposition has to worry about. Okay, usually teams are gearing their game plan around stopping Jack Hughes. Now, if you take him out of the lineup, teams don't have to do that as much. So this is the big if. This is the huge if. The question will be, can Jack produce the first 100-point season in New Jersey Devils history, or his first? He tallied 99 points, and which did set a franchise record. So yes, no Devil has ever had a 100-point season. I'm sorry, I like, it's one of those things like you swear but you gotta just do a double take. So glad it's right there in the article. But so can Jack Hughes get to the Devils' first ever 100-point season? Certainly he can, right? We all know he has the talent, he has the ability. The question is, can he pack on a few pounds? And at least, can we give the guy a balance class, maybe a balance yoga type class, so that way he stops tripping, okay? Because a lot of these injuries are, he's tripping over this, he's tripping over that, and he's taking, really hard falls. So, maybe if we can chop that down a little bit. This is the biggest what if on the list, certainly out of anybody. And, Jack is, as you see in the article, still 24 years old. So he's got room to grow. And when he's out there, when he's healthy, he is good to go. But that's the big thing. When he is healthy. It's not all the time, and Devils fans want more consistency out of him. So, and I agree, but I think certainly if Jack Hughes is healthy, if we're saying he's healthy for 75 of the 82 games, do I think he can get to 100 points? I certainly do, and I think he can set a new career high. So Jack Hughes is there with a little asterisk that says if healthy. So obviously a tough one to gauge and predict, right? Because you don't know. You figure he's going to get hurt at some point. That's why I said 75 games. You just give yourself a little wiggle room there. But obviously if he's missing much more than that, it's a different story. The next one on the list was Luke Hughes. Now, this is interesting, right? Because it kind of depends what happens here, right? If he gets a bridge deal, I could certainly see him going on a tear and continuing, his upward climb, which he should be, right? He's a young guy. He's still growing in this league. And as plenty of you have mentioned in the comments, still has a long way to go before he should be commanding top defenseman dollars in the $9 million range. So Luke Hughes is a great candidate for this. He had a great year last year, set a career high in assists he was second. It was his second most points. I'm interested to see Luke Hughes' continued development here on the Devils and see if he can continue to up his ante and, up his scoring along with, everything else. Because when he came into the league, we thought, well, his scoring's going to be fine. It's not a problem. It's going to be his defense. That's the question. So, would love to see him continue to grow. And I think this is certainly one, but then you worry if he gets paid, if he gets a massive payday, which, by the way, we're still waiting on. I think we're on day like 40-something since Tom said that signing him was his number one priority. Still hasn't done it yet. So if he gets a big payday, obviously the thought could be he slacks off a little bit. So this is an interesting one, and certainly comes down to what he gets in his contract. But Luke Hughes definitely a great contender to have a career year going into 2025, 2026, because we saw a lot of positive things towards the back half of last year in the offensive direction. So I expect Luke to come out firing this year. Hopefully he stays healthy throughout the summer. Last year, remember, he had that shoulder problem, that he missed the start of the season and this, that, and the other thing. So, again, whatever it is with the Hughes brothers and their shoulders, I don't know. But certainly, Luke is a great candidate to have a career year. Now, this last one is interesting to me because it's almost like this is almost a want to have a career year. Like, I don't think anybody's sitting here saying Dawson Mercer's a terrible human being, at least not what we know, right? I think everybody wants Dawson Mercer to be successful. But I have a feeling that the pick on this list is a want. Like, you want Dawson Mercer to break out. That way it can show people like, hey, he will take control of that third line. And maybe it's 3C, maybe it's at the wing, whatever. But at least he's taking control like we saw 2 years ago. As we mentioned in previous videos, he's still young, okay? So he's still got some room to grow, but it's time for him to take a leap. And, in the article, I think it's pretty, it's pretty good, right? And it asks at the end, could he join the 30-goal club for the first time? Dawson Mercer needs to come out and right away needs to show what he can do, because you see it there in the last paragraph, the first sentence. It feels like Mercer is at a crossroads this year. And I certainly feel that way. Knowing the fan base a little bit, I feel like I certainly can see that, right? If he has another down year, that would make 3 in a row. And, as much as 3 in a row is a winning streak, it's also a losing streak. And it's something that, you can base, something off of, 3 bad years. That would be a trend. So we'll see. It's a big year for Dawson Mercer. Again, like I mentioned, the Jack Hughes argument is interesting, Luke Hughes, but I think there's, I think there's 2 other Devils and big Devils that I think, could be staring at or needing a career year. And the first one that needs it is going to be Timo Meier. Because in my opinion, Timo, since he's come over here, I don't think he's been as bad as everybody's been, kind of making it out to be. But I have it here. His career high in points is 76 points, 76 points back in 2021. Okay, so he scored 35 goals that year, had 41 assists. I need that guy back. And I know I know since he's come over here, his role is a little bit different than San Jose. Now, again, in San Jose, he was the guy, right? He was, everybody's finding the puck. He was, the guy everybody's scouting against and this, that, and the other thing. So you had to get creative. But he's come here. He's, not the top guy. So, I think it's been a little bit of an adjustment. But Timo, please start scoring goals before the month of March. Please play every month like it's March. If he does that, he's going to set a career high in points, and the Devils are going to be successful. I really think that's one of those. It's not, is he going to break it? Do I want him to? It's if the Devils are going to get to where they want to go, which, again, we can argue whether they're ready or are good enough to get to a conference final or a Stanley Cup final. If they want to get there, they need a guy like Timo Meier setting a career high in points or in goals, okay, putting the puck in the back of the net. He has taken on a more physical role since he's been on this roster, but again, he's got to deliver. Last year, his finishing probably was like bottom 5 in the league. I don't have the stat in front of me, but it sure felt like it, and it sure felt like it watching it. And you could just tell the good chances he was getting, he didn't bury the puck. Hopefully, that's what he's been working on all summer, I would imagine. And he's got to be able to finish the puck in the back of the net this season for New Jersey if they are to get to where we all want them to get to, which is the promised land. And the other one, I think, is Nico Hischier. You saw it last year. He led the Devils in goals despite missing a good chunk of time. I think Nico Hischier could continue to grow. His career high in points is 80. I would love to see him, that upper echelon center, standard was really set by Crosby, who's been a point per game producer for 20 years in a row now. Nico's obviously not going to get there, nor am I saying he is Sidney Crosby. Please do not start in the comments about me saying that's not what I said. But I think that's a good marker and a good indication of a good center, and especially one being the team captain as well. I would love to see, and I think Nico Hischier can get to that 82-point plateau this season, and I expect him to. Especially, again, much like Timo Meier, if the Devils want to go further in the postseason, to the second round, or to the conference finals, or even further, they're going to need something like this. Okay, a Timo Meier popping off for a career year in goals. Nico Hischier, career year in points, okay? It's going to be very, very interesting to watch, and I appreciate everybody for listening, for tuning in. Again, be a subscriber to the channel, okay? And leave us a comment. What do you think? Who on the Devils, again, whatever you think. What do you think about my take? Who on the Devils is primed to have a career year in New Jersey? Let me know what you think, and we'll catch you next time on Devils Digest.